Hello, hello, hello. What's up, guys? It's your girl Nick coming to you with a chit chat and a vlog about my recent trip. For months now, you guys have been seeing me do these different hauls for clothing that I was taking to a wedding. Well, the wedding finally happened, and it was a destination wedding. We stayed at the Royalton Riviera Cancun all-inclusive resort in Cancun, Mexico. It was one of my younger cousin. She got married. It was not I wouldn't say it was a big wedding because there was nobody in the wedding except for her husband, well, her now husband, and their three children. First things first. Packing and leaving. So I booked my flight for this wedding back at in March, I want to say. Um, at the time, what's it called? At the time, Southwest, they hadn't posted because we were too far ahead. So, I paid, like, I put a down payment on my room, and then I also paid outright for my flight. And looking back, I wish I would have waited until Southwest put their rates out. I think they had put their rates out maybe like 3 weeks after I booked my flight for this trip. So I went with American Airlines, and with them, there was no straight flights. There was no non-stops. You had to make a stop. So I initially booked, and I booked my flight. It had me like leaving my local airport at maybe like 8:19 in the morning, connecting to a flight in Charlotte, and then getting to the resort. I mean, getting to the airport in Cancun late at night, which meant I would have been traveling all day. No, the first time I wasn't traveling all day. I um I still had decent time. I was getting into Cancun to maybe like 3:30, 4 o'clock or something similar to that. So I was good with that. Okay, that's fine. Some months go by, and I get an email saying your flight has been changed. I don't know what was going on with America, and this was back in, I want to say, it happened once. I didn't really care because it was just a little bit of time. It was like the flight was leaving 10 minutes earlier than it said before. So I was like, well, whatever. It's cool. So I left that alone. And that happened, I want to say, back in, I want to say, May or June. Then comes August rolls around, and, excuse me, I get an email stating that once again, my flight has been changed. But this time, it's not the flight going, it's the flight coming back home. And the flight coming back home, they dropped me into a flight that had me leaving the hotel at 1:42. Well, not leaving the hotel or the resort. A flight that departs at 1:42 from Cancun going to Charlotte. Was it Charlotte or was it Chicago? Whatever it was, it had me flying from departing Cancun at 1:42. And by the time I got back home to my city or my local airport, it would be midnight. Who wanted to travel from 1 p.m. in the afternoon till midnight? And remember, it's international, so you got to be at the airport 2 to 3 hours earlier than your actual flight. So I would have been at the airport, what, 10 o'clock in the morning, 10 to 11 o'clock. And so it would have been a 12-hour day between going from Cancun to come to where I live. So I was like, no, I'm not with it. I was agitated. Um, I contacted the travel agent that put this block of rooms together for this destination wedding. She was of no help. She told me, "Oh no, you gotta contact the actual airline because you paid the actual airline. You didn't pay through me or the travel agency for your flight. You paid outright." And I will say, I'll tell y'all how much it was. round trip with insurance. My flight was $365, I want to say, which was really cheap because other people, like my cousin that actually got married, for example, like her and her husband, they had flights to go and come back. They had nonstop. They flew Southwest. I think she said she paid a little over $1,200 for her and her husband, and for their children, for each child, they had to pay $800 for round trip tickets for them. So I got a good deal, but as far as the price, but the headache with traveling. So anyway, that happens in August. They fixed my flight. Then they fixed it. Yeah, they fixed my flight. Have me departing at 3:54 and coming back. I mean, getting back to my state at 10:13 at night, which isn't bad, even with a connecting flight. So then the stuff happened with American Airlines, what, a month ago, where I don't even think it was a whole month ago, where there was, no, it wasn't even a month ago, it was just like 2 or 3 weeks ago, when they canceled a whole lot of people's flights. So I called to inquire to make sure my flight wasn't canceled, and to make sure I'm still good for the getting back at an earlier time. So they fixed it. So it just so happened that my mom and I flew down there the same day, but she took a different flight. Her and my aunt were on a different flight that left our city, flew to Chicago, and then they had like a 4.5 hour layover in Chicago, and then from Chicago to Cancun. My aunt came back 2 days before us. So my mom actually came back the same day I came back, and I told her to talk to somebody to see if she can get switched and put on my flight, and we could fly back home together. Cause I flew down there by myself. So she was able to do that. First, they gave her a runaround, saying she would have to pay money to do it and all this other stuff. And then I started to think, well, maybe they gave it to me for free of charge because of all the hassle that I had already gone through with them. With them changing my flight times and all those kinds of things like that. So anyway, that happened. So we fly out, we get there. I got there. All my flights took off on time and everything, and I arrived on time. Uh, the transport was included with my flight. The transport company was called Amstar. I was standing out there waiting for like 15, 20 minutes. And then they just put me in a van with another transport company who was also taking some people to the same resort I was going to. And those people happened to be going to the resort for a wedding on the same day that the wedding I was attending was happening. But it was a different wedding. So anyway, I finally get to the resort. And again, this resort I went to is called Royalton. I had gone to another Royalton all inclusive back in June, at the end of June. We had a family trip on my father's side of the family. It was supposed to be my grandmother's last vacation, and she passed away before we could go, but she still wanted us to go. So we all still went. So we went to the Royalton Punta Cana, which is in the Dominican Republic. That resort is about 3 times smaller than the one in Cancun. The Cancun one is bigger. They have way more restaurants and better tasting food. Okay. So anyway, it was set up similar, but I did notice, and what I did like. So apparently, the Punta Cana, the Royalton Punta Cana, they didn't have elevators for us to use. I think they might have had some elevators for the staff, but I didn't see any elevators. So we had to take our bags up the steps in Punta Cana, and the resort was only 3 levels high, and they have swim outs. Like the people on the bottom floor, they get to have a swim out, which means you got like a little pool kind of thing floating in front of your room. But your swim out is not separated from whoever is staying in the room next door. Like it's one long pool that goes at that resort. It was one long pool that went around the whole building. Did it? No, it was on the back side. The swim outs were on the back, and then the front side that faced the swimming pools and everything, they didn't have a swim out. They just had a walkout. So, the Royalton Cancun that I stayed at recently, they had the swim outs and everything, but they also had elevators, which was great. And their building was 4 stories high. Like I said, this resort was 3 times larger than the Punta Cana resort. I don't know how many years the Punta Cana resort has been there, but the bellhop or bellboy, he let me know that this Royalton in Cancun, it's only been around for 5 years or so. So it's a newer resort. They're still building on the side. You can see that as you drive up. Now, as you drive up, this resort was only about 10-20 minutes, between 10 and 20 minutes away from the airport, depending on traffic. It was like they turned off the road. They made a left off the road, and all you see is grass, and what it appears to be swamp and marshland. And you drive up, and then it's like you can you come to a fork in the road, and it goes like this. If you drive this way, you go to the Royalton. If you drive this way, you went to a resort called Dreams, which was way down from us. Because when I actually finally made it out to the beach at the resort, I looked down and I could see Dreams all the way. It was a nice little walk down to go to the Dreams Resort. But anyway, I stayed there for 7 days. Yeah, I stayed for it was 7 days. Yep, 7 days. Um, so I got there 2 days before the wedding and came back home. What, 5 days after the wedding or so. When I first got there, so when you first check in and everything, check in went fine, no issues. But when I got to the room, I was a little disappointed. Number one, my room was so far down and away. Like my room, because I had my own room. My mother had her own room, and my aunt roomed with one of her girlfriends that came and went on the trip with us. Um, to keep her costs low, My aunt is very frugal. She loves to travel, but she's very frugal. And her and her homegirl, they wanted to come together. So my cousin allowed it. Um, we were all on the same hallway. My mom and my aunt were at one end, and I was all the way at the other end. We were on the side for family. We were on the family side of the resort for kids and everything. And it was like a long walk away from the lobby, the main buffet area, the restaurants, and everything. And then it took me about 2 days to figure out the shortcut because I would come out of my room, walk down this long hallway because it was like I was in what they considered to be building 8. So the building went like this. When you first came into the resort, when you come in past the bellhops, you in the lobby. It's a big old lobby. And it's 2 escalators, one coming up, one going down. When you go down the escalators, under the escalator was the main buffet area. That was the main marketplace or whatever. That was the buffet place that most people would go to. And when you go down the escalator, you're facing the main swimming pool area, and like when you walk back, it was some gazebos and things like that. It was also a Mexican restaurant to the side, and then a steak restaurant to this side. You'd come in the lobby, and the lobby was super big. Of course, I'm going to install pictures and video and stuff, but the lobby was super big and everything. So I paid for and I paid extra to make sure I got an ocean view room. What I did not know is that ocean view and ocean side / ocean front are 2 different categories. I was not aware. I assumed that me saying ocean view would mean that I would be like, my room will be right there where I can look out and see the ocean exactly. And that's not what I got. Okay?
Yeah, so I'll go back there.
All right, y'all. So as y'all can see from that little video, my room was really, really nice, and it overlooked the pool area for the family side. I was on the far end, the left end of the resort. I could see the ocean from my room, but it was like two big trees blocking, like two big palm trees, as you can see, blocking, and I didn't really see much. It was just the palm trees in a way. So I went back to the front desk and made a little fuss about it. And so they showed me another room on and what they considered build to 7. And that room, I could see out to the pool area, one of the pool areas. But I looked at the room, and that room had actually the like the room had like a pull out, like a sofa chair that you could pull out, and then that looked old, and it was ratted and tatted. It was like the filling was hanging out and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, nah, I don't want this room either. This is not that great of a view either. So I went back to the front desk, and they told me, well, come back on not tomorrow, but the next day. So I went down there on a Wednesday, and I came back on a Tuesday. So they told me on Friday morning at 9 a.m. come. By that time, they should be having some people check out, and I could probably get a room more to my liking. Cause I was like, well, if y'all, cause I would have kept my initial room. I was gonna keep it, but I was like, y'all gonna have to refund me some of my money because I want what I paid for. But again, I'm saying that under the assumption that what I paid for was to be able to look directly at the ocean and not have, anything obstructing my view of the ocean. Not realizing that that was still considered an ocean view room. It just wasn't ocean side or ocean front. Okay? Because as long as you can see the water, they consider that ocean view. So I said, okay, I'll hold out and wait till Friday morning. And also, Friday is the day that the wedding is happening. So we have we had dinner and all that kind of stuff. We hung out, met up with my cousin. I got to go see her suite that she had, which was really, really nice. And her suite actually was oceanside. And it was like it was across the hotel. I mean, across the resort from us. And most everybody else, and that's crazy that they put myself, her mother, her mother, when she came, her mother, myself, my mom, and my aunt, we were all on the far left side of the resort. And my cousin and all the rest of her guests, they was all on the far right side of the resort. They all had rooms on the other side. And they also, on that side is where the hideaway, which is the adults only side or whatever. Another thing I forgot to mention that I wish I would have paid to be in Diamond Club. When I went to the Royalton in Punta Cana, our price included us being in something called Diamond Club, which means they had like it was restaurants. Like even though we weren't on the adults only side at that resort, we can go to the adults only side restaurants because we had Diamond Club. We can use facilities and have stuff that regular customers did not. You get your own personal concierge slash butler. They make reservations for you at these restaurants. Because some of the restaurants, when you have a big party, you can't just go in and say, I want to come in. You gotta make a reservation beforehand. Um, that's how it was at the Punta Cana one. But this one, it wasn't really like that. Like I thought we had to make a reservation to go to the steakhouse. They said no. We open at 6. Can't wear swimwear in here though. But it's first come first serve or whatever. So because we ate our first night, which was Wednesday night, we ate buffet. We ate the buffet for breakfast. The next day, which was Thursday, we had the buffet, and then my cousin was having like an all-white party to welcome all her guests. I thought for all those people that she booked to come down there that they gave her a specific area or a room, but they really didn't. They gave her first it was going to be in her suite, but then she said no, it's too many people in her suite, so they gave us an area of the buffet place to have for the white party, which I didn't really care for. I felt like she got all these people, like 60 something people to come to your resort, spend money. They already spend the money on their wedding. Like, what did you give her? Like, what kind of thing did you give her for getting all these people to come here for this wedding? So anyway, we had dinner at the buffet. So after that, we was tired of the buffet. So we were like, the next day, we're going to try to go to a restaurant. I mean, not the next night, because the next night was the wedding. So we went to the wedding. That happened. It was beautiful. Um, I might try to put some video or some pictures. I'll definitely add pictures in. Matter of fact, I'm going to add them now.
Oh my God, you big. Hayden, cut it.
Okay, guys. So you saw the look of the area where the wedding was going to be, where the wedding took place. At first, it was the wedding ceremony was going to happen on the Sky Terrace on the side of the resort that she was on, and then the reception was going to happen at the Sky Terrace on the side of the resort that I was on. But because it rained every day that we were there for those first couple of days, and it actually it rained that morning before her wedding, and they had to, according to her now husband, he told us the night before we left that he was working with the wedding coordinator because they switched the venue 3 different times because of rain. Because on the Sky Terrace, it's open, so we would get wet, and it was beautiful scenery, a beautiful area, as you can see from the pictures and stuff. She was just determined to have her wedding there. I mean, in this open area. But thank God they started setting up, and it was just a little bit windy as they were setting up. When we came in to sit down for the wedding, when we sat down for the ceremony, they ended up putting everything in one area. So everything was in the area that was reserved for the reception. So they had the ceremony area, and the reception area was to the left of us. As we sit waiting for the ceremony to begin, um, they were still setting up and doing things for the actual reception. And let me just say before I keep talking about that, I ended up going to the front desk at a little after 9 to see if I could switch my room. Of course, it's a different person there, but they look in the system and the person was like, well, do you really want to switch? And I said, yeah, show me another room, and if I like it, I'll switch. So they was like, well, the room that we might give you, because the girl was like, we could, if you want to pay extra for an upgrade, I could look up. I said, I'm not giving y'all no more money. That's out. So she was like, all right. So she looked up something. She said, all right, well, this room it was belonging to someone else, but we'll give them your room, but you got to have all your stuff packed up. If you like this room that we're going to show you, you got to have all your things packed and ready to go by, was it? By 3. And I'm like, wow. Because I was under the impression the wedding started at 4. But then once we got there, they said 3B up there at 3:30. They started at 3:30 sharp. They didn't start at no 3:30. They started more like 4:30. But I was worried. I'm like, oh my God, I got to get dressed, all that, and be ready to go. So I called. The time came. I did all I had to do. I did my hair. I styled my braids a certain kind of way and all that kind of stuff. Did everything I had to do. Um, put my clothes on for the actual wedding. Called when it came time. I'm like, wait, the bellhop. They didn't come yet. So I had to call and get the bellhop to come. And I said, can y'all hurry up? Because I got a wedding that I gotta be at a certain time, and my cousin had specifically asked me to do something, 2 things whereas I had to be there on time so that I could get those two things done. So anyway, so the bellhop finally comes. It's a little after 3. He finally comes, and I didn't have a chance to go get my room key switched out to the new room. I had to wait. So I go to the new room, we get my things into the new room, and I get my dress on. I had to get another staff, like a housekeeper or somebody. I had to get one of them to come zip up the back of my dress because I couldn't get it zipped up myself. So she did that. I walked around, and the good thing was, like I said, with all the changes going on because of rain, the actual venue happened to be in the same building I was at. I just had to walk around and go get on the elevator, go up one flight on the elevator. So I got around there, I sat down, and we wait for the ceremony. So the ceremony happens, and then they walk out. The whole ceremony happens, and they walk out, and cocktail hour starts. So I'm like, okay, cool. Since it's cocktail hour, I can take my heels off, run down to the front desk. Put my slides on, run down to the front desk, get my key switched, and then come back for the rest of the for the cocktail hour and the reception. I end up going and doing that and stopping off at my room first because I wanted to get some good pictures of myself in in my outfit with my heels and things like that. So I did that.